being a bit newish to Warhammer 40k, starting with Space Marine 2, it's quite jarring seeing just how strong the Space Marines themselves are. I mean, they are genetically modified for this kind of stuff, built and bred for that, waging wars and the like, right? But I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit curious about what are the more normal humans, doing out there? What did their struggles look like in this world? And it's only talked about a lot of the time. You see it in Space Marine 2 ever so slightly with the Cadians, like you see what they're fighting. It's overwhelming odds all the same, but the Space Marines still go in a little bit harder, I would say, usually. I mean, they're called in for that kind of stuff, right? But I still was curious on how is it like on the day to day for, like the hive worlds and stuff, right? And this whole game here, Darktide, it kind of shows you that. I think it takes place on a place called Tertium, right? It's a hive world, and it's kind of that where you're fighting off chaos, right? Heretics of Nurgle and all this, and you're doing that to make sure like what people are safe up top and shit. I don't know. I just know that it fucking rocks, okay? The combat is this not really the same. I almost said it was, but it's similar heavily to Vermintide, which is something I have played, which is, the fantasy side of Warhammer, which I do like, but I don't like it as much as this side of it. I just find this side cooler, but I played a little bit of it. I was gonna say a lot, but I don't want to sit here and just over exaggerate it. I played a bit of Vermintide, and I found it fun. I really liked the gameplay loop, but I wanted it in the setting of 40k. And now that we have Darktide going around, I mean, I know this game's been around for a bit, but I just haven't been able to play it for a while. So, it's just nice to see this side of it, right? So you start seeing what it's like just defending off normal planets instead of like, you know, Xenos infested stuff. It's a lot of, chaos infested and such. But I mean, it's potato potato at that point, is it not? I mean, it's all the same thing in terms of you gotta destroy it and protect, Empire and all that shit. As far as classes go, we have like four options, but I went ahead and chose the Psycher because I'm just like a magic nerd. I love the whole like warp abilities and stuff that we have. I mean, there's this thing that we have, I think it's called Smite, where you just have fucking Palpatine hands, man. Really fucking sick. It may not be the best damage, but it does serve like utility, I would say, and it helps like crowd control, and there's even perks for it to like help every enemy that's affected by it take more damage, so it is a debuff. Like, really decent stuff, I would say. It's strong in the right hands, but nothing overpowered, I would say. Really nice to see like all these different perks and everything too. I'm a big fan of like build crafting and whatnot, so it just gives you so many options to play the same class just way differently. Just so fun at the end of the day, being able to go from like fully spelled like bound stuff to like, you know, melee centered, or I mean, they like psychers have guns in this game, for fuck's sake. Like, you can just go crazy in this. I don't know why you would do that, but it's just kind of funny. I thought it was funny how we, as a psyker, you start out without a staff, so you have to use guns in the beginning, but once you get it, there's no reason to go back. The staff is just too strong for us psychers, It's really sick seeing all the different ways to build and play this kind of stuff. Like, it really draws in a player like me personally, but I can see why it would drive away people, of course. I mean, I can see both sides of that. It's nothing to be ashamed of course, but really sick seeing how the team variety goes into the play. Like, you can do a full set of psychers, ogrins, veterans, or zealots, but getting variety is also very good to do. Kind of have like some tank setups or some straight up DPS guys. I mean, it'd be cool if we had like a healer in this, because I know Vermintide did, but it would just go crazy in games like this. Like, team play is the bee's knees in games like this. It's just so fun sometimes you fuck up, you go down, you gotta rely on the homies to come and help you out. Like, it's really neat waiting a little bit, like sucks to wait, but sitting there waiting for him to come get you and then just coming back into the fight and just going right into it, going ham. Really fun stuff to do when you get into like the flow state of it. And these aren't even the higher difficulties, mind you. I've only played the first three difficulties and only successfully done stuff on the first two, so I'm still a scrub beyond scrubby. Like, I can barely do anything, but the experience I've had with Vermintide helps, I will say. It's just cool and fun learning all the new stuff, of course. Like, I don't like to be super godly at everything. The fun stuff is learning the game and overcoming those challenges to, I don't know, to a guy like me, I guess. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I mean, people chase different things in their games at the end of the day. Like this one, you don't have to go super hard in the paint. You can just sit there and spam heavy and light attacks to your heart's content, and you can do just fine. But there is like, the skill ceiling, I think it's referred to, where like you can go higher if you want to, if you desire that. But you can just stay, in a comfortable place if you wanted to. Like games like that, super fun in my opinion. Really sick to see just like the levels of skill, the progression, all that stuff. I don't know. I guess I'm just a nerd like that, to be fair, though. But it is really cool to see, obviously, the guys that are super geared and good at the game in comparison to like scrubs like me. It's a very wide gap. As far as combat goes in this game, you have such a wide variety, it feels like. There's a lot of melee centered stuff, there's a lot of ranged stuff. I mean, I have a staff for my ranged weapon, my ranged option, and it has, depending on the staff, you have different like charged attacks and stuff. But plenty of classes have actual guns to use. I've seen people rocking flamethrowers that looked so sick. I mean, I can only imagine how good shotguns are. I've seen, revolvers go crazy. It just depends on what class you are and what you're building for. But the variety is there. That's the important part. Actually learning how to mix it all up and whatnot is the fun to me. I would say it's, when you don't know how to do anything in a game and learning it is that's the real fun stuff. I don't know. Super cool to see, like, you know on block you can do X move. Dodging into this and that is probably better. Sliding attack and whatnot. I mean, is there really one? I don't actually. I just slide into attacks a lot, I'm gonna be honest, but like I said, new. Sorry if I say anything that isn't correct, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's just really neat seeing the layers of how many attacks and what you can combo up with, and your ranged options for actually stopping them from hurting you at a range because you get suppressed if you get shot at. It's insane, but at the end of the day, right? You have insane melee combat with obviously insane amount of gore, it feels like. But that's part of the fun, is just lopping heads off like fucking medieval knight. You know what I mean? It's just super sick. And at the end of the day, if you do add the ability to cleave someone in twain, I'm probably gonna play it. I'm gonna be honest with you.